Science in Practice, Tools for Critical Thinking and Research series.
This episode is on what makes an expert. In an age where information is everywhere, the challenge isn't finding data, it's finding reliable information.
This is especially true when it comes to health and science, where a flood of claims and advice can make it hard to know who to trust. False information can spread quickly through social media channels, with algorithms preferring extremes and simplicity. Therefore, having your own methods to assess reliability is more important than ever.
So how do we identify an expert, and what sets their knowledge apart from the sea of misinformation?
Science is a conversation, not a fixed point.
First, it's important to understand that science is not static.
Many people think of science as a collection of facts, but in reality, it's a process.
Experts in scientific fields don't simply memorize information. They engage in a conversation that evolves over time.
This conversation happens between researchers, doctors, and other professionals who build on existing knowledge through study, debate, and discovery.
However, scientific knowledge changes slowly and for good reason. Before any major idea or breakthrough becomes widely accepted, it must be rigorously tested and verified by multiple independent researchers.
This process, called replication, ensures that findings are not just a fluke or based on poor methods.
Only after repeated confirmation does science begin to shift. When someone claims new science has flipped everything we know overnight, it's usually a sign of misinformation.
True experts understand that while science does evolve, it does so based on accumulated evidence, not sudden reversals.
Beware of extreme language and overconfidence. One of the clearest signs of genuine expertise is the way experts communicate.
Language is a powerful tool, and how it's used can tell you a lot about the credibility of a source. A common feature of misinformation is highly emotive or overly confident language designed to grab your attention.
You might see headlines promising miraculous cures or warning of health dangers, often without nuance. But actual scientists and health experts rarely speak in such absolute terms.
Experts avoid extremes. They understand that science often deals with probabilities, ranges, and uncertainties. Instead of saying, "This is the cure for cancer," a credible expert might say, "This treatment shows promise in certain types of cancer, but we need more studies to fully understand its potential."
Scientists use cautious language because they are aware of the complexities involved. They leave room for future discoveries, debate, and refinement of knowledge.
Whenever you hear someone making extreme claims or speaking with absolute certainty, ask yourself, is this the way a careful, informed scientist would talk? If there's no nuance, it's worth questioning the credibility of the source.
Experts recognize the limits of their knowledge.
Another critical feature of an expert is their willingness to admit when they don't have all the answers. Real experts recognize the limits of their knowledge.
This doesn't mean they are unsure or unqualified. It's the opposite. Their caution and humility show that they are grounded in reality.
If you come across someone who seems to know everything with absolute certainty, that's another warning sign. Genuine experts are not afraid to say, "I don't know," or "we need more data," because they understand that science is a process of discovery.
Credentials and lifelong learning.
Other markers of expertise are qualifications and ongoing education. Genuine experts don't simply rely on the degree they earned decades ago. They actively keep up with the latest developments in their field.
This happens in a variety of ways, such as attending conferences, engaging in ongoing professional development, and perhaps most importantly, reading and contributing to peer-reviewed journals. Peer-reviewed research is critical because it means the work has been evaluated by other experts in the field, ensuring a certain level of quality and reliability before it is published.
When assessing whether someone is an expert, it's important to ask, what are their qualifications? Are they actively involved in their field? Many professionals regularly update their knowledge by following research published in reliable sources such as PubMed, which hosts a vast array of peer-reviewed medical studies, or Cochrane, known for its rigorous, systematic reviews of health interventions.
The NICE guidelines are another authoritative source for health and clinical practice, setting standards for high-quality, evidence-based care.
It's not just about one study.
Perhaps one of the most common mistakes people make when interpreting science is putting too much weight on a single study. While headlines might trumpet a new discovery as revolutionary, it's crucial to remember that experts never base their conclusions on one study alone.
Any study, no matter how well conducted, is just one piece of the puzzle. Good studies highlight limitations or areas that need further exploration.
Experts consider the broader body of evidence. They look at multiple studies, especially when the research involves humans and not just animal models. While animal studies can provide valuable insights, they don't always translate directly to humans.
Similarly, a single study might show promising results, but if other studies don't support the same conclusion, that's a reason to be cautious.
In other words, a true expert will always weigh the entire landscape of evidence before making claims.
This process is why it often takes years or even decades for new treatments or ideas to be fully accepted in the scientific community. A credible expert won't rush to judgment or recommend a solution based on one early study. They'll wait until a strong consensus has formed.
Peer review and consensus, the foundation of scientific trust.
An essential part of scientific credibility is peer review. Before a study is published in a reputable journal, it must be reviewed and critiqued by other experts in the field. This process acts as a filter, ensuring that only high-quality, well-researched studies are shared with the scientific community.
It's not a perfect system, but peer review helps prevent errors, bias, and poor methodology from becoming widespread knowledge. Moreover, experts don't just look at individual studies, they look at the broader consensus.
If many studies point in the same direction, that strengthens the reliability of the conclusion.
Consensus doesn't mean every single scientist agrees, but it does mean that the vast majority of evidence supports a certain idea. In science, consensus is powerful.
Transparency and conflict of interest.
A true expert is transparent about their sources and any potential conflicts of interest.
Reliable experts will disclose if they are funded by a particular organization or company, as this information helps others evaluate their conclusions in context.
Being open about funding and affiliations is a sign of integrity and builds trust in the expert's findings. If a source hides conflicts of interest or is unclear about their affiliations, this is another reason to approach their claims with caution.
Interdisciplinary knowledge.
Experts also understand that no field exists in isolation. The best experts often bring in interdisciplinary knowledge. That is, they recognize how different fields can intersect with their work.
For instance, a medical expert might consider not only biological data, but also social, psychological, or environmental factors when giving health advice.
This ability to integrate diverse areas of knowledge adds depth to their expertise and shows that they are considering the full picture rather than offering overly simplistic solutions.
The importance of methodology. Finally, experts pay close attention to methodology.
They don't just look at the results of a study, they critically evaluate how the research was conducted. Was the sample size large enough? Was there a control group?
A control group is a group that receives either a placebo, a non-active drug, a sham treatment, or the usual care. This acts as a fair comparison.
Was the study double-blind?
This is when neither the researcher nor the participant knows whether they are in the active or control group.
These details can make or break the validity of the findings. Experts scrutinize the methods used in research to ensure that the conclusions drawn are robust and reliable.
Summing it up, what to look for in an expert. Identifying a true expert means looking for several key markers.
Science as a conversation. Experts understand that science is always evolving, but they also know it takes time for solid conclusions to form through careful testing and replication.
Language matters. Be wary of extreme or overly confident language. True experts speak with nuance, acknowledging uncertainty and complexity.
Experts recognize their limits. Genuine experts aren't afraid to admit when they don't know something or when the evidence is inconclusive.
Qualifications and lifelong learning. Experts stay engaged with their field, updating their knowledge through professional development and peer-reviewed research.
Evidence matters, not just one study. Experts look at the broader body of research and avoid making sweeping claims based on a single study.
Peer review and consensus. True experts rely on peer-reviewed research and consider the consensus of the scientific community.
Transparency and conflict of interest. Reliable experts are open about their funding and affiliations.
Interdisciplinary knowledge. Experts integrate knowledge from other fields, offering a well-rounded perspective.
Methodology matters. Experts critically evaluate how studies are conducted to ensure their findings are sound.
In a world full of information, we all need to practice critical thinking. While experts provide us with credible, well-researched advice, it's up to all of us to ask questions, seek out reliable sources, and be aware of how science works.
With the right tools, you can better navigate health and science information and make more informed decisions.